Who's calling that? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit? Who? Hey.
Hello and welcome to Soul Talk podcast, and today I'm here with my very good friend, stroke brother from another mother, Jamal Atif.
Hello, I'm Jamal. No.
We've been setting this up for a while, so we've sort of lost our marbles a bit now, haven't we?
Yeah, and also trying to be serious is quite hard.
No, I wasn't expecting this to be serious anyway.
Because it's really not going to be. I don't know how to be serious.
No, we don't know. So I just want to start off with you just telling everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well,
yeah, where do we start? Oh God, the big question. Who am I?
Well, I'm here, you know.
You are.
I'm present. Right?
You are presently here.
I'm Jamal. I started off dancing with Razia.
Yes.
When I was, how old was I? 13? I was like 13,
Oh my God,
14.
yeah, I think you will have, 13, 14, yeah.
And me and Razia met through, like, I was doing, like, drama in school, and then they were like, you know, you can do a little rap about bullying. And I was like...
it was actually my mum's project, that. It wasn't actually mine, yeah.
Shout out to your mum. And yeah, so I'm also create music as well. I manage social media. I'm just an all-round creative, I guess.
Yeah.
Dancer, singer.
And I think that comes hand in hand when you're creative. You sort of explore any avenue where there is creativity and end up doing multiple things, don't you?
Yeah, and I think like I was thinking about this the other day. Like sometimes I feel that there's certain spaces or certain like avenues that I never thought about entering, and I think it just kind of happened. And I think that just came with like trusting my intuition.
Yeah. Like
even when, I don't know, like I moved away and like it was all like within a week, and I was like, what am I gonna do?
So just tell us a little bit about where you moved to and like your reasons for moving as well.
No, you all up in my business.
I'm all up in your business. I want to get to the deep stuff.
I'll just put that down because it's distracting me a bit. Yeah, so I moved to London from Accrington. From Accrington. And I always knew I was a city boy at heart. I think I always knew that. I think when I was here, I think as a teenager, I always felt like I don't belong here. And throughout like my teenage years, I think I always had like this idea of like, I'm gonna move to London, I'm gonna follow my dreams.
Yeah.
But really, my dreams were crushed. No, I'm joking. They weren't crushed. I think they were just realigned.
Yeah. And I think it's always a hard one as an artist to go to London, and you know, I think people presume it's going to be easier than what it actually is, and it's not. It's actually very challenging. You've got the living costs down there. You're a small fish but in a big pond, whereas obviously being in Accrington, you're a big fish in a small pond. And so there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more people doing what you're trying to do as well, and all on that same mission. So when you went to London, so how did you get through that? Because it has been like a turbulent time, hasn't it, actually, since you've moved down there?
Yeah. I think like the hardest thing was, I think it's like, obviously I've spent a lot of time like building like, I guess, a creative network up here, like as a teenager. Like I had you as like a safe space to always come to, like dancing wise, but even more than dancing, I think it was like a lot of my creative avenues. Like I had a safe space at House of Fusion, and I could come to you and be like, even when I started coaching myself, and I was like, Razia, I need help.
Yeah.
You was always like there, but when I was there, it was like I didn't have my family, didn't have anyone, and I think I really wanted to like build my own community there. But I think trying to find that community, I had to go through like a lot of No shade, no disrespect, but all the disrespect. A lot of like people that had a lot of negative intentions towards me.
Yeah.
And I think I really carried that energy until I finally realised that, do you know what, the important thing isn't about building a community, it's about staying true to who I am as a creative. Because no one's going to get it until it's, you know, popular, and then everyone's a sheep and they're like, oh my god, that's so good, like, you know. So
and you know, and I think a lot of people feel that, don't they, where, and you see a lot of posts like that on Instagram where they're like, support your real friends as you would do a celebrity, because the minute something blows up, people want to be part of that.
They do.
And that's what's really hard, is we want people to be part of the whole journey and not just like all the good stuff.
Yeah, I do think there's like a certain expectation though, as like a South Asian creative, because I feel like, you know, especially like being Pakistani and South Asian, I think when we're like brought up and like we're growing up, and a lot of our culture and even religion is fear-based, so everything is...
It's mad you're saying that, because it's been on my mind a lot this week.
Yeah, it's been on my mind too.
And like, I always feel like we have the same stuff on our mind. It's so crazy. But it is. It's very fear-based, isn't it? That if you don't do something, there's going to be a repercussion. Yeah.
And I think I never understood how much it affected me, because when I was 16 or 17, I dropped that song, I'm Through. Yes, guys, that was me. Everyone keeps like, when I dropped Who Is That, every time I was on live or under my comments, everyone was like, where's Baby I'm Through?
Do you know what? Yeah. I remember.
Sorry.
Yes. I noticed that as well. So was that your first like track that had a video with it and stuff as well?
I think that was my first official single.
Yeah, and you was thinking of maybe re-releasing that, doing it like a second time at some point, was you not?
That song is in the past.
But I feel like people would love the fact if you was to bring it out a second time.
I think people...
There was a request, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think there's a very big demand for it. But I think one thing I realised about the internet and socials is people want stuff that they can kind of like ridicule you about. So I don't think people want the song because it's...
like fully with good intention.
Yeah, I think it's more because they're threatened by the growth, maybe. I don't know. Because I think sonically and skill wise, even though like that song, it took me like, it was just like a quick little song that I do think sonically it's shown my growth as an artist.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
It's been really nice actually, because I've known you for such a long time. I've got to like see this growth. And you guys, we were mic testing before, and he just gave me this little trill, and I was just like, woo! And then I was like, give us a little trill on the... What was it you were singing?
I have no idea now. It was just in the moment. I don't know what the hell it is, but I did something.
It was cute anyway.
Anyways, you can stream my singles on Spotify if you want to hear that.
Yeah, so let's talk about that though. So because we had some like technical faults, didn't we, with the last podcast, and so it's taken us a while to do it. But actually, when we originally were going to podcast, you had just released your new single, and we really wanted to talk about it, didn't we? So let's go back and like actually talk about that. How's it going? When did you release it? Now, 'cause it's been quite a while, hasn't it? Now it's been out. Yeah.
Also, can I just say, like, me and Razzie are such conversation jumpers, so we'll be talking about something.
This won't make any sense at all. Basically, is what I say.
But
it makes sense to us.
If it doesn't make sense, just get with it.
You just might have to keep up with us, yeah.
So the song dropped, wow, I don't remember. I think it was March, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was March. And I think, like, I have a lot of songs that are kind of, like, in my hard drive at the minute. And I guess that song, I just felt like it was the one that I felt like was kind of ready because it was quite catchy.
Yeah.
Like, when I was singing it, I was like, who is there?
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I kind of released it. But with that song, I also had so many issues with it. Like, there was someone who was supposed to be on it, but it just didn't work out, you know, for whatever reason, and that's fine. But yeah, so with that song, I just felt like it had a lot of trials and tribulations to come out.
Like, what was the actual sort of stimulus and like meaning behind that song? Like, how did you create it? Because I always feel like people are always really interested in how you create things. I get asked this a lot with dancing, like, how do you create it? And I'm like, well, just do it. But like, I feel like people are generally interested in like the process of how you get there.
Okay, so I'm so this producer called O&M. He's from 2 In London, Southwest London, and we kind of went to his studio, and I had this song in my head from Shabo. It's like, you done know, Shabo, you done know. Like, it was just that kind of song was in my head, and she's kind of being very like braggadocious. Like, she was, and the beat was just, you know, and I was like, you know what? I remember feeling like I want people to feel good, you know, like something confidence based, something. I guess I wanted something drill, but I didn't want to be like jumping on like a drill sound that's not me. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of was like, I don't know. So I told him, and he kind of just put together this like beat, and then I kind of got onto the mic, and then I was like, stepped out my crib, and
honestly, it's so catchy. Like, I even ended up doing like a TikTok dance to it, didn't I? And it's just one of those like, but it's very you at the same time. When you hear it, you know it is you. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's because I know you. But.
I just feel like that whole song just kind of just came out, like, because I feel like sometimes you get like these downloads of ideas, and I don't know where it comes from. It just comes from like,
I feel like, and you know, we're like we are both like very spiritual, and I would say that's just been another chapter of like how we are as friends. That's just been another part of knowing each other, which has been really nice, hasn't it? Because we've had so many spiritual conversations this year in particular. But to me, that's what I feel like it is. It's downloads. It's actual like divine downloads of like, we're giving this to you as like a tool, knowing that you have the ability to create something with it. Like, because that is a term, you know, getting downloads. Like,
because I saw something, and it was like Michael Jackson said, I have this idea. It was like really late at night, and he got all of his team together in the studio, and they were like, Michael, it's like dumb o'clock, like, you know, like, can we record tomorrow? And he was like, nope, you're gonna come now because I don't want Prince to get the idea. And that's when I kind of realized, okay, so if you do have ideas and you do have it, it's something
you
that
gotta
you
like
should
act on it.
Because sometimes I'll have crazy lyrics in my head, like I'll be doing something and I'm like, oh, that's a good bar, and then I forget to write it down, and then it's just gone.
This is why I always say, like, it's so good to have a journal with you all the time. Because sometimes I do this and I'll dream stuff. For me, like, my students laugh all the time. I'll come in and be like, right, I dreamt this choreography. I'm just going to try it. Let's see if it looks like what it were in my dream. And then, my students are more or less just used to it. But I think having a journal, like, by your bed or, you know, late at night, because I feel like you always end up channeling where you're most still. And so it ends up happening, like, through dream, because you're at your most peaceful and quietness. Do you know what I mean?
And I do think, like...
Is it still going?
Yeah, I was just double checking it. It's still going. I do think, like, you know... I remember, like, in school, I remember, like, a lot of people, I guess, used to, like, alienate me in a way, because I guess I was always, like, so sure about my creativity. And I was low-key, like, not even low-key, high-key annihilated for being exactly that. But I don't know if I'm just really delusional, like, where it was kind of like, I felt it and I saw it, but it just felt so insignificant compared to like what was going on inside my head.
Do you know, I've always thought this about you. I always admired how, and I don't know if resilience is the right words. Like, I definitely feel like you're resilient. I just feel like in this circumstance, or exactly that. For me, I always admired your confidence through that it didn't matter. you actually inspired me, because it didn't matter what people said.
Yeah.
You say this about me, but I see it in you, where you just knew where you wanted to get to, and you was just sort of like batting everyone left, right and centre to get there. Because, you know, when I say batting people, I mean as in people who were trying to like interfere or had something negative to say about it. Whereas sometimes I've let that get to me, but I feel like you sort of inspired me to like just not give a shit, because
I appreciate that.
And when you think now, all that time you end up wasting being concerned about other people, it's just taking you off track. Like, just get back on your track, knowing that it's not really like important.
It's not.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, like, even though, I think, because I think the older I've gotten and in different spaces that I've been in, I felt like I was kind of, I think we had this conversation before I came here about how I felt really like annihilated for just being who I am.
Yeah.
Which is, sometimes I'm loud, I'm big.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, I have no energy to give out.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel I'm being judged two ways. I'm being judged for being like a brown Pakistani boy. And then I'm also being judged for being Muslim. Then I'm also being judged for being a creative.
Yeah.
Then I'm also being judged for just existing.
You know, yeah.
And I don't, like, people always say to me, like, oh, you're trying to be this, or you're trying to be that, or you're trying to be... And sometimes I'm just like, no, bro, I'm just being me.
Just being me, yeah. But because it doesn't fit into their margins of what they're used to and what's normal to them, and, you know, the sort of expectations they've got of how somebody is. And I think that's what you always have to bear in mind, is that people can only ever speak to you and view things from their own glasses. And so you never actually get a real answer off anybody. Everyone's just basically speaking from their own viewpoint, with their own learnings, their own experience. And so you can't take it on board, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth or real. It's just their truth.
It's their truth.
You know.
I totally agree, because like, I've met certain people and they've come across like they're so open-minded, they're so spiritual, you know, they have this, you know, certain thing about them, and like, when you actually get to know them, you realize that you're just empty, like, you have nothing to give, you know. And I don't know, for me, I was like, I'm taking advice and I'm hearing someone who actually isn't helping themselves, because their ego and pride is so in the way. And I think for me as a creative, like, there was a time where I do think I felt like I had to have an ego, and I had to have pride, and I had to be like, this is my work, this is how I want it to be, this is my energy. If you're not gonna... But I realised that my ego is actually holding me back.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like sometimes it can be like a protective thing, and like a fight or flight sort of energy when you are in your ego space. I always see it as like the walls have gone up and you're just sort of protecting yourself in that environment so that no one can say anything to you and it hurt you, because you're like, well, I've got this shield up anyway, so I'll be fine, sort of thing.
Talking about shields, something that I do feel like I never understood about myself, but have recently is like, you know, my fashion, like clothing and stuff. That's my shield.
Well, it's been making me laugh that I've got a bucket hat on here, and then you've got one, and I just feel left out that I don't have a bucket hat on today. Like, she's got one, you've got one. I didn't get the memo clearly. But yeah, your fashion.
Get in. That is actually such a, like...
I literally, every time that song comes on and that little bit comes on, that's like what I do straight away.
I forgot about it.
Musicality of that song's just so was a vibe.
Oh my days.
So you were saying about your fashion.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I've always, like, growing up here, I feel like, especially like as a brown boy back in that time, my mum used to like love like dressing me up in like certain clothing. I remember there was one picture I had like a full denim set with a denim bucket hat.
See, that's nice.
Like, my mum...
I did not get dressed like this. But when you said that then, I thought, oh, here we go. And that's actually like a really good outfit. Yeah, something I'd wear now.
No, my mum ate with my outfit.
Oh, that's cool, that.
So I remember, like, you know, there were certain fits like, that I saw. And also, like, I used to... like, when I was younger, yeah, I used to, like... wear different clothes, right? Set up the camera, and stand in front of the camera and do like different outfits and different shoots. I used to I was like,
so you've just been you from a very young age, yeah.
Like I
love that.
Even like with music, like I used to play it, and like I used to be like, I'm gonna, you know, like I always used to like study them like performance wise, and it just always like drew me to it. I don't know what it was, even like, you know.
Can I ask you something then? And you know, it's weird again, like the what's that word?
Synchronization.
The synchronization of this conversation, because I was looking at like some inner child like healing cards and stuff, and it was saying like when you're a child, you're actually like more of truly who you are, because obviously you've not got 16 years and you've not let things interfere, and you don't really carry sort of like traumatic events and stuff with you at that age. You're very like, you have more trust in the world, you have more trust in the people around you, because you're being looked after, you're not independently looking after yourself. And so you have to learn to trust in more things as a child. Do you maybe think that's why you was more sort of truly you, because obviously you've gone through having to fight to be that, then as you've gone into a teen years and stuff, it's almost like as a child, like we just lose our inhibitions and we don't really care about what we look like. Do you know what I mean?
I do think that when you are a kid, you are more your spirit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a nice way to put it. Yeah.
You are more your spirit. Like you are, like you're not existent like of, okay, Mum said I have to behave like this. Dad said I have to behave like this. Grandma, cousin. Like, you're not really masking unless, you know, like you're just free. Just existing. Your culture don't define you. Your family don't define you. You're just a child. But I think as soon as you have more adult features, and I think as soon as I started to, I guess, become more of an adult, I did feel like this 360, like not even 360, 180, sorry. Yeah. Flip in how people perceived me. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
And I totally feel you on that.
When I feel like I'm still low-key, high-key in touch with my inner child. Like, I'm not, I don't know, people always say to me, like, you haven't really changed. Yeah. From when I was, like, young. And I do think there's elements of me that have, but I think there's, who I really am is still me. Yeah. Like, I'm still, you know. Yeah. But I think that in itself is, like, again, fighting and being so sure of, do you know what, like existing in your spirit, like who, like, because I always say, this body, like this flesh, whatever I have on my skin, it's genuinely just it's like a suit, it's like a car,
like a vessel, like sort of thing. Yeah.
It's like, I feel like this is just something I control. Yeah. This is my literal, like, my real physical representation of, you know, what I'm supposed to look like in this world for whatever reason. Yeah. But my spirit,
it's deep within there. It's not, I totally get what you're saying. Know what I mean? Yeah, as in, you know, and this is what I believe, and I've read books and stuff and studied this as well, is that our soul is, you know, lifetime long, it's infinite, and this is just the vessel that carries that soul. It's not actually us. We're almost like actually separate from this. And so I did actually read somewhere, and this might be going like quite deep with it now, but, and you know, if you haven't read A New Earth, I would really recommend the book, but it's very mind-boggling at first, because you're just like, oh my god, I've never thought about it like this. And it speaks about how like our emotions and our mind is part of this vessel, not actually our spirit and soul. And that as a human, we connect with that emotion so much, but we sort of torture ourselves with like having fears and letting our mind just do all the talking, when actually our soul and spirit is very peaceful and happy, and that that is the way to be ultimately like happy.
Oh my God.
Is to actually separate that. And honestly, when I read this book, I was like, I had to go and get another second book to sort of confirm it, and then I ended up reading 3 different ones all saying the same thing, but gave really good examples, and I was just like, oh my God, like that's the key to like true freedom, really. And
do you know what's crazy? I feel like I've seen this in real life, where I've met so many people and they're like, oh my God, I wish I could have had the courage to do this. Oh, I'm so scared. I really want to do this, but I'm scared. And I always find those people are very anxious and depressed and not very like internally happy, because they're letting their fears and judgment of others hold them back.
Which is like all your mind. It's all the mind work.
Bro, no, listen. For me, right, I never released music for so long because I was low-key, high-key, so like overwhelmed, I guess, even like low-key traumatized by how people, I guess, were moving when I'm Through came out and like Catch Me. Like I felt like I was putting myself on like a podium to be like gunned down.
Okay.
And it was like really confusing because I had people on one arm being like, you need to keep at it, like keep going. Then I had people on the other right being like, you need to give it up. Or people would literally say to me like, the song's good, but someone else should sing it.
Right.
And honestly, for me, like, I did take it to heart, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because it pushed me.
Yeah.
It pushed me. And now I do feel like I'm better for it. But my point is, if I would have let my fear, not even my fear, everyone's projection hold me back, I wouldn't be here. And I was watching this TikTok the other day, and it was basically like, the difference between public schools and private schools is confidence. Private school kids are taught, find a skill, find what you're good at, and that's what you're gonna do.
And like master it,
They're encouraged. They're taught to be different and free thinkers and use your intuition. Whereas like people who go like public schools and stuff, they're taught, you know, conform, be this kind of way. You know, like.
I almost feel like, again, it's that survival thing of like, you have to conform to survive in a public school, because I don't see...
Pakistanis have been doing for a lot, since 1947, since all of that stuff. That's why there's so many issues within the South Asian communities, because even like sometimes my own family, I hear them speak, and it's not... Every decision that they make is survival.
Yeah. You literally hit the nail on the head there. And my mum actually did a podcast where she spoke about this.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And she said she spent so much of her school life feeling afraid because there was a high volume of racism there. It wasn't safe to just come out of your house and walk down the street without receiving some sort of racial hatred. And so it was very get to school, get back home, and not very much in between as well, which also shelters you from a lot of life experience. And I just remember her saying there was just so much of that time where people were just afraid. And there wasn't a lot of, in particular in Accrington as well, because my family was one of the first Pakistani families to be here, that there wasn't a lot of Pakistani people here either. So it was like you couldn't,
as well.
You didn't have a lot of other people to share that experience with either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I remember my granddad and my grandma, because my granddad moved here with his parents when they were 19.
Wow.
And he was like, when they first moved onto their street, they were the only Pakistani family, and there was like one other as well. And he was like, it was really bad, like the racism. Even like my mum, remember her saying stuff like in school, the teachers were saying it. I mean, even oh my god, like honestly, that word. I'm sorry for saying it, but that's what it's called.
It literally, my heart just like skipped a beat then, because it just, and that must be how I associate that word, because it's never been given to me in a positive way. No one's ever called me that in a positive way, and so for me, it literally, that was literally like you pressed a button then.
Yeah.
And I was like, wanted to jump to defence
Yeah.
straight away because it's just awful.
For using it, but that is the term.
No, I'd say, yeah,
Yeah.
no, like you've been called it and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Because I had a friend in uni who was Sikh, and his dad was from Burnley, and he turned around and said to me that his dad used to go pea bashing, and with like the,
Yeah.
And I was like really taken aback because I didn't think that
it was actually like an activity. Yeah, like it's mad.
I think that's our privilege though, that we never got to experience that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But they did. And that's why I do think, again, everything that stems from our culture at the moment is fear-based. And I think that's why we don't have a lot of, I guess, it's getting better now.
And when you talk about it like that, and back to like when your grandparents were here and my grandparents and parents were here, when you look at how far it has actually come, it has come so far, hasn't it? It just, you can't help but think sometimes, was it even necessary in the first place? So could it have just been like this the entire time? Like, why did it take this long?
Because pre-colonialism, like if you look at, and I think for me, I'm a bit of a history nerd.
Oh, I love it though, because I wasn't into history, but I love it so much more now. I love hearing stuff like this.
I do love learning about South Asian history, because I remember being so inspired by like my African and Caribbean friends, because they're so like in touch with their history, like they're so passionate about learning about it. And I think for me, I was like, whoa, like they were telling me South Asia was colonized, and I didn't even know. Do you know what I mean? And then that kind of led me to explore what actually happened. And when I learned like all of these like hate, like South Asian people hating each other against Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, like all of this division was created to conquer people. Like the partition, when it happened, they just drew a line within a week. They didn't actually understand that. That's why Punjab, the region, is split between India and Pakistan. So there's a lot of people in that region that have family in Pakistan and have family in India and haven't linked since the partition happened. So yeah, I do think like, colonialism, and they never just took resources, they took people's spirits, people's, like, that was one of the richest regions in the world, like, they exhausted everything, including the people. And I think even though it was so many years ago, 80, 90 years ago, till this day we're still undoing a lot of the harmful narratives that were put on us. And I think with South Asian people, when we look at the professions that we choose to go in, and our parents encourage us, it's always the safe ones. It's always doctor, this.
I feel like safe, but also things that would make you look more credential as well. Yeah, that's it, the status of it.
Because I do think as South Asian people, I think because let me just not say South Asian, let me not generalise it. Let me just say Pakistani specifically, and let me say Northern Pakistani specifically as well. Because we all have different experiences.
Yeah, of course.
I think we're losing our culture, because not even like losing our culture, we're not creating a new culture for the time that we're in, because all of us as creatives are battling something. Like we're letting our fears hold us back. We feel like we don't have a space. But we need to create a space. We need to.
Oh, I want to high five you.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we need to build that space. And sometimes I feel like, and I'm probably not doing enough.
No, not at all. I feel like you are part of that change, just like I feel like I am. And we're the people that are trying to pioneer that new space. It's just, it needs more people to be brave and step out of it. You know, I feel though, and I said this 2 years ago, it's almost like there's a massive chain ready to be broken. Yeah. And I knew you was part of this. And it was almost like we were all stood in a circle, the ones that were ready for it at the time, ready to break this chain. And I think over the next few years, more and more will come.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm seeing a lot more.
We're seeing so much more now, definitely. It's just going to take time. I would say when something was at the extreme of being destroyed, it's going to be at the extreme of mending it again. 100%. And so it's going to take as much time to mend it as what it was to destroy it.
Because let's be like, I think this is the thing. I think because we don't have a lot of brown creative representation, I think people think
it's almost like we're trying to lead, but without the not as many role models.
And people tend to think that, oh, that means you guys aren't doing like you guys, you know, you're not actually contributing to the creative scene or culture, because I feel like South Asian people are a massive part of British culture. Like whether you take it away or not, there's so many South Asian soldiers that fought in World War II. Going forward, they helped rebuild the economy along with African and Caribbean people. So we have been part of British history for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think the only way for us to really not solidify ourselves, but bring awareness to our brilliance that we have within our communities and actually encourage that. I think that's the only way we're gonna be able to have those safe spaces.
And I think it's being brave to like use your voice, and actually I think we're definitely being called in particular this year is to not be afraid to share how we did it, because a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people are quite like secretly competitive, especially when you've had to fight to get what you want. Like I feel like I went through that and I've come out of the other end now, where it's got to be about collaboration and not 100%. Competition, because
I've been hearing that word so much this month,
because I feel like it is, because if we don't let the next generation know how we did it and we don't encourage them, and by being courageous ourselves, what generation are we going to leave behind? So what's in my mind now is we're not just thinking about us in this lifetime now, we've got to think for like 5 generations ahead. What mark do we want to leave here now to make sure that this continues? It can't just stop with us, otherwise we haven't really pushed enough. We haven't done enough, no, not for it to have a ripple effect that far. And so now that should give those people just that little bit more courage to speak up, to share stuff with each other, knowing that we don't want it to stop with us. I would love for somebody to carry on the work that I've been doing. If it doesn't necessarily have to be the same path, but to carry on breaking the chain, because if they don't, we may end up back in this loop again. 100%. And so it needs people to really step up and actively, whatever you're channeling, whatever is coming to you, take action and do it, knowing that it's sort of like divinely guided and that you will be like protected and looked after. But we just get so scared that that's not the case, especially from a culture like ours,
and I think
that has so much scarcity in it,
and that is designed to control us. You know, we're like,
and it's not just in our culture. I feel like in the world, there's so much in the system that is ultimately just to control us, because imagine if we were all free-souled and we were all breaking chains and stuff, well, the world would be like beautiful and peaceful. 100%. And not everybody wants that.
And I do think, like, you know, I think if your intuition is telling you you're supposed to be, I don't know, dancer, singer, a flipping doctor, like whatever your spirit is telling you you're supposed to do, I think that is exactly what you're meant to do. And along the journey, you might end up taking little detours. Like for me, I always thought music, but then I ended up dancing. Ended up jumping in acting. I ended up jumping in so many different fields.
But then all paths lead home. It doesn't matter like what path you end up on. When you've been brought here for a purpose, you're always going to get to that purpose as long as you're moving forward.
Disney coded. You always find your way home.
Literally, like, it is true though, because as long as in your mind you're still trying to get to that purpose, you're still have intention in what you're doing, of course you're going to get there. But, you know, detours are needed. We were talking about this before of like, you know, mistakes are needed to be made. You need to take those detours to go through those dark parts, to find what part of you need for this next chapter or whatever. Yeah. And it's just, it's never going to be a straight road to it, because one, that would just like be too easy. Those lessons won't be learned along the way, and I don't feel like we'd evolve as people. We'd just be the same person, in which case I don't think we would move forward as much as we do.
I totally agree. And also, we haven't mentioned, which I think kind of goes on to your point about how sometimes being in your darkness is also a power. Like being like, for me, I'm one of those people where I don't post on social media if I'm going through stuff. I don't share that struggle and journey. But what I'm realizing is, it's like, not everything is going to be rainbows and sunshine. And, you know, sometimes you have to go through those dark moments where you are sat with yourself, highlight yourself, because that's where I feel like you really deep and really understand like what's really important to me. What is my voice? What is my purpose? Like, okay, I want to create music, but why am I creating music? What is it? And I think for me, I'm realizing like everything has a purpose. Even like having a job, your purpose is to make money to survive. But then also, if you're just making money to survive, like, you need to look after yourself by expressing yourself in a creative way, I think. You know, or something that aligns to your spirit. It's all a balance and it's all finding it. But yeah, my point is, I do think that that dark space is sometimes a redirection to a new light.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like it's almost like it's necessary. They're needed.